very interesting developments out of China as the country deals with a COVID crisis there, similar to what we saw here almost 3 years ago. The Washington Post reporting that China just saw their first decline in population in 60 years. Joining us now for more is retired Air Force Brigadier General, Newsmax contributor Blaine Holt. General, good morning. Good to see you. Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day.
So things are not good in China right now. We know that. The Wall Street Journal reporting yesterday that China's economic growth fell to near historic lows as COVID took a bite, saying last year marked the worst year for gross domestic product growth in China since 1976. That was the year that Mao's death ended the decade of strife known as the Cultural Revolution. And this is just what we're not getting a lot of information out of China. How bad are things in China right now?
So what's being reported is being underreported by 100 times. And COVID is not the only reason that China has been imploding. We're witnessing the second Cultural Revolution, and no one should forget where Xi Jinping comes from. He's called a princeling because of his relationship to Mao and his father's relationship to Mao. He has eviscerated business. He has attacked anybody who's a billionaire, a Chinese billionaire like Jack Ma. And then they have this housing crisis that goes underreported every day, which is a financially vaporizing China. And so then when you add in the COVID and the deaths, now they're starting to release that they have a COVID problem, 60,000 deaths since December. That is so underreported, it's ridiculous. They have crematoriums running overtime. They're converting hospitals to crematoriums and morgues. They're converting schools to crematoriums and morgues. You don't do those kinds of things if you are not planning for future deaths coming. China's in real trouble.
Okay, General, I want to move on to the war in Ukraine right now. Some really interesting reporting in Reuters this morning. Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov says that Moscow has yet to receive any serious peace proposals from Vladimir Zelensky and that Ukraine, and he called the suggestions totally absurd. What do you make of that as we ebb closer to a possible peace between Russia and Ukraine?
So what Lavrov is really saying is that he and the regime and Vladimir Putin really have no U-turn on this war, and they don't have any way out of this. And where Zelensky's at, which is basically just get out of our country and we'll start talking, right, is unacceptable to them because that basically means the end of the Putin regime. So Lavrov's really not serious about getting to any type of negotiating table either. What would be helpful is if we start a no preconditions discussions about where we are. Let the Russians bring up all of their umbrage about Minsk I and Minsk II, which they feel got them into this war. But then let's discuss the entire thing and see if we can't get someplace other than where we're at now. Because I will tell you, the lethality that we're going to see on the battlefield, it's going to go up. It's going to get worse.
Scary. It didn't pass the smell test for me either, because Lavrov did not lay out what Russia wanted. We know what they want. They want the eastern Donbass region. They want to keep Crimea, and then maybe they'll think about getting out of Ukraine. Obviously, Zelensky is not going to let that happen.
Right. Zelensky now is in a point of protecting Ukrainian sovereignty. The Ukrainians could have had that deal a year ago. Now their country's been just eviscerated, and all of these war crimes, the rapes, the abduction of children, goes on and on and on. But Russia can't ask for the same deal it wanted this time last year after they've destroyed a country and raped it. There has to be a different way ahead. So Zelensky has limited options with his people because his people rightly are saying, we want you to reestablish Ukrainian sovereignty and we want our country rebuilt.
General, just a question from the perspective of peace negotiations. Is this how they typically begin?
Yes, this is signaling. So this is signaling that we're talking. We're talking about talking, and where we should seize the opportunity in D.C., in my opinion, is Secretary Blinken should take a leadership role here and go, okay, look, let's get to Vienna, let's get to some neutral site, and let's just start talking. And we get it. You have umbrage with the United States for supporting Ukraine, but we eventually have to sit down and stop this thing, or to slow this thing down, because we're going to a real bad place that neither participant wants to get to.
And that's a good thing that they're talking about talking. You see that as a good signal?
It is. It's yes.
Okay.
But we should seize the opportunity. You got to do something.
Absolutely. Yeah, the war will mark its one-year anniversary, February the 24th. General Holt, good to see you again. Thanks for breaking that down.
Great to see you.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Your retirement funds are being threatened with even more losses from record inflation, recession, and skyrocketing interest rates. Fortunately, the highly trained specialists at American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. If you call them right now, as a special offer, they will give you a free gold coin on your first qualifying order, so don't wait. Call 866-935-4309. That's 866-935-4309, or text Newsmax to 65532. That's Newsmax to 65532.